Hi, it's Jared from Strongroots Farm, back with another episode of the Great Ohio Homestead. So we've got our grass growing. You've seen us spreading the seed and doing the things. We've got the soil coming in and gaining organic matter down in our soil. We've got our erosion stopped, and now we have to gain access to our property. So we've got our mini X over here, and we are clearing out the ditches. They were all grubbed up, and then we're gonna make this water flow. We're gonna fix the watershed on our ditches and put us a nice culvert in at that stake so we can gain access to this property as we build this brand new homestead. Stick around, I'll take you through it all. All right, so I'd already started working, didn't film, got here in the evening late, but there's what it looked like. All this grubs and small saplings and stuff. It was all the way down through here thick, couldn't even get on this property. Luckily, the guy who bought that property over there has allowed me to come in his driveway since there's nothing but field there, park my Mini X behind that barn at night. So we're going through first and just grubbing, what I would call grubbing. We're just kind of skimming the top with our backhoe, our Mini X, and pulling that grass and briars and weeds and even the saplings out and throwing them in a long windrow. Let's talk about that because people are gonna kind of argue with me on this. Two trains of thought here. So you can take all this stuff and pile it and just leave it. Well, it would be a mixture of grasses and briars and wood trees, and they would just pile it and eventually maybe burn it or push it into a hole. I like to leave it in this long windrow. I do not like to pile, especially a bunch of trees where they pile them up and they stay for a year. I don't like to do that. If you're an excavator, I understand why they do that or why you do that as an excavator, because it gets more access to the land and then the people can deal with it later. Your job is done. But we're gonna put it in a windrow like this. It's our property. This will allow me to go through and get the grasses and the dirt and the different stuff that I pulled out, pile up as a compost pile, and then take the wood easily, piece by piece, put it onto a burn pile, burn it, put the ash then on the compost pile as well, and we'll spread that on the field here in 4 or 5 months or so. So first we took our Mini X, we grubbed, and you end up with stuff like this: roots, briars, grasses, and a lot of dirt. Just kind of the skim topping of the dirt, and then we pile that into a big pile. Let's look at that. This is really all that's left of that pile. That's pretty much it, because we sorted out stuff. And you can see I had my wife and my son kind of moving stuff. There did end up a few saplings. We also took it, and we have this big valley. Between here and those electric poles, there's kind of a dip right there where we will put a pond, a dam across eventually. And we put that kind of in the entrance, not in the cutway for the dam. We want only clay for that. We'll talk about the pond later. But we put some in layers. So we're putting a layer of this and then a layer of clay. And then the stuff that we can spread, we'll spread on the field, kind of just to help the organic matter out. But that was the first start of our ditch. Then we come back through and we excavated our ditch with what I would call a rough grade. So I did shoot the bottom. I did get it to where it would run downhill, but we're using a toothed bucket. I'll talk about this here in a second. It would be better to ditch with a ditching bucket, which means it doesn't have teeth. It kind of cuts a smooth trail. But we roughed it in with the toothed bucket. I can get pretty smooth with that. I run them, and you end up with piles of dirt like this that we're then spreading out to level out our ground around the pond. And we came back with a skid steer, my bucket tractor, 2 different things, and we smoothed this ditch out, and then we're gonna seed it down. The toothed bucket. Let's go up to the Sani. I wanna show you this because if you're renting your equipment, this is important to you. All right, camera malfunction, so we're gonna do this a different way. You got a tooth bucket, and on my Sani, I have this bucket. It's a digging bucket or tooth bucket because it has these teeth that you see that dig into the soil. It also has these side scrapers, makes it really nice, pierces the soil, and allows you to dig up more ground at one time. They call these a digging bucket or sometimes a tooth bucket. And on the opposite, you have a smooth face bucket or sometimes called a ditching bucket. This will allow you to make a very smooth cut on the bottom of a ditch and smooth the ditch out. The problem comes when you use the toothed bucket to dig. You get these ridges. If you would put those teeth down, you're gonna have bumps where the teeth dig into the bottom of the soil. If you roll your bucket up and you drag it to make a smooth bottom of your ditch, It can do that, but one, that takes a little bit more experienced excavator, and it's pretty hard to make that perfect. If you could use a tooth bucket to make the bottom of your hole very clean and very smooth and a nice easy grade, no differences in level as you take different bites, you're a very good excavator. Maybe you're thinking you could just get both buckets from a rental company, and you can do that. But this is important. One, can you do it all in one day? If you're gonna rent a 2-day rental and you're trying to get 2 buckets, think about this. How does the bucket change? Most buckets change with these pins. So you have to knock this pin out, take the bucket off, get the excavator back in place, put the new bucket back in and put this pin in, put these bolts back. If you're inexperienced, I'll tell you, you don't want to be doing this on a job site. So when you go to do this, if you're going to get both buckets, you want to rent an excavator that has a quick coupler. Most rental companies, they try to do this, and you should get this if you buy an excavator. You want a quick coupler. It does make changing out attachments much easier. These are 2 types. Sometimes they're levers or pins, and sometimes they're electronic or hydraulic within the cab. This thing will grab a hold of the bucket, it will pick it up, and it will lock a pin in place, or sometimes you just put that pin in place manually, but it's still way faster than driving all the pins out. If you're planning to switch buckets, you have to get a quick coupler. Trust me on this, it'll save you a lot of headache. But you have an alternative. If you're gonna do 2 or 3 or 4 days of rental, rent the better piece of equipment. Rent your track hoe with your tooth bucket to grub and dig your ditches out, then go back and rent a skid steer. Skid steer has multiple different positives about it. So one, it's got that smooth face bucket. It's a much wider bucket, so you don't get those divots between lines. It drags, it has better down pressure. It's a better balanced thing. Your face is closer to the dirt because you're not sitting way up in a cab on an excavator. You're closer down there so you can kind of see what you're doing a little better. They are much, much faster as far as moving, and it has multiple functions. So now you're able to move these big piles of dirt, clean this land up better. If you piled brush, this will push it much better than your excavator would into a better pile. And then if you go into the next step of this journey, which is installing the culvert, you can see me here moving dirt around to install the culvert, which is a whole other video. But if you're doing this job all at the same time, you could use the skid steer like I'm doing here to install that culvert, perhaps move gravel, smooth your driveway out, or even cut in your driveway if the land permits. Now, if you're going up a mountain with your driveway, you're probably going to want a dozer to do that. But as far as getting the ditches done right, I like the skid steer option much better. Sorry for the malfunction. Let's get back to our ditches at our property. So with a skid steer, you end up with something that looks like this. It's nice and smooth. We have moved all the dirt piles away, and our ditch is nice. Long scoops, water flows through it slow, it doesn't erode, and it's easy to mow. That was the critical point for me. Then we came back, you can see it's hay. So we actually unrolled a round bale. So instead of buying straw, hundreds of dollars, I bought one round bale for $40, which also has grass seed in it. We unrolled it here, which was kind of a funny thing. My kids shook it out after we put fescue down. Now, I use a mix, 20% annual rye, 20% perennial rye, and 60% fescue on my ditches and waterways. If you've watched my cattle videos very long, I'm not a big fan of fescue, but it is great. It's a great product for waterways and ditches. We will get into a video here on step 4, which is the watershed issues. So that is what I like in there because it lasts longer in the winter. Here in Ohio, it has a deeper root structure and it's usually pretty thick. It also looks pretty nice when you mow it. So that's what I like to put to prevent erosion in specific waterways. And this is what you end up with. Now this is a gaining access video. If you don't have to fix your ditches to put in that culvert down there, which is our next video, you don't have to do all of this work. So when you're looking at pieces of property, that is important to you. I have 12 hours on an excavator. If you're renting that, that's a 2-day rental. Here where I'm at, that's $640 worth of equipment rental, plus seed, plus time, plus about $100 in diesel fuel, plus that $40 bag of seed and that $40 round bale. Now I have all this equipment, so it's a little cheaper for me, but you can see this 600-foot ditch line could easily cost you $1,000, and I know what I'm doing. If you're slow on it, you're probably gonna end up taking another day, and you're gonna be hand raking some stuff, which is fine. But you're looking at $1,000 to $1,500 for 500 to 600 feet worth of rentals and work. That's what it's gonna take to get your ditches to look like this. But if your ditches are good, you know that property saved you $1,000 to $1,500 in a couple days of work. The last portion of our excavation for this video to get our access was this culvert. I'll do a whole video on how to install a culvert and the details of it. But the one thing I want to point out in this video is I want you to see my road. I'm actually standing on the road. It's nice here because I dug for 8 hours and I saw 4 cars. This is a nice, calm, quiet, slow road. The problem with that, and that seems like an advantage, you want to be out here, that's what we're doing, but this road is skinny. It's a 1-lane road. You cannot pass somebody without getting off the side of the road, which isn't a big problem in your SUV or your truck or even a car. The ditches are fine, but for the gravel guy delivering your gravel for that culvert, that's a problem. He can't get off the road to dump your gravel. So I'm having to haul the gravel in here with my dump trailer about 25 feet in just to give him enough room to swing off of this road, get into that driveway and safely dump my gravel without becoming one of those hilarious videos where his truck topples over. Well, there you have it. We have seeded our property to stop erosion, to get some organic matter growing. It also helps us to prevent tearing up when we're putting in the driveway and other construction points. We're working on gaining access, and this video was all about getting these ditches ready. You can see, I don't know that I would recommend putting this thick. My kids got a little thick on the hay through here, but we seeded our ditches. We want to stop erosion and keep our soil. Plus, we did all this work to make these ditches perfectly shaped. We don't want the water just to take all that away. So it's very important that you get your watershed fixed, which is step number 4. But if you have to do that before you get access with your culvert, this is what you're going to have to do. I hope this video helped you. The main points is keeping details about when you rent equipment, getting the right equipment. Appreciate you watching. Until next time, have a good one.